We've talked a lot, especially recently, about this flurry of bills in so many different states, and the disproportionate amount of time that Fox News has spent on these sorts of topics. Is there, and I'm sort of hoping that I'm in a bubble where I'm focusing, as the media generally does, on the negative news. Is there a reaction to this? Like, so we talk about these predominantly red states with their attacks against the transgender community. Are blue states doing something to protect trans people in their states? Is there an effort nationally for some sort of, I don't know, Bill, some sort of federal acknowledgement of some sort of civil rights to protect against this? An effort to choose future judges and justices that might have a different view in this world? Is there anything like that you see?
The Equality Act is something that has been discussed a lot. So long as the filibuster remains intact, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. I know that there have been, the ACLU has been bringing some cases. Chase Strangeau has been doing amazing work. He's probably the best trans attorney in the world right now. But at the end of the day, we see a lot of words, and unfortunately, this is true of the Biden administration also. We see a lot of words saying that the administration stands behind us, but not a lot of action to protect us beyond that. There's been no action by the federal government to bring lawsuits against these states. And the sadder part is that these are attacks not just on trans adults, but also trans children. And if you look at trans children, one thing that conservatives throw out a lot is the suicide rate among trans people, as to underscore their idea that this is a mental illness, when in reality it's not. And if you look at post-transition suicide rates in my community, in the trans community, they're actually lower than the general population. The number one leading cause of suicidal ideation in the trans community is transphobia, is the idea that you cannot, that you face transphobia, the lack of an affirming family, the lack of affirming care. That is the cause of suicidal ideation in the trans community. And so when we say that these kinds of laws are going to cost lives, they really are going to cost lives. The problem is, I think, that trans rights has become sort of a fringe issue. And you even see people like James Carville, who are Democratic talking heads, who are like, well, we don't need to focus on that. Aaron Sorkin said that in an interview a couple of years ago. And that does seem, unfortunately, to be the prevailing attitude among much of the Democratic Party. The trans rights are a wedge issue we don't want to get into. And unfortunately, it's my community that has to suffer. The NCAA talked about pulling out of states that passed anti-trans sports legislation. That hasn't happened. And so, unfortunately, as much as I wish I could sit here and say, no, there has been a concerted backlash against this, there really has not been, of the kind that's needed to sort of disincentivize these bills from passing. And until and unless that happens, more and more states are going to do this. And what worries me is the number of kids who, having been a trans kid myself, the number of kids who are not going to get what they need, and the number of lives that are going to be lost as a result.
Yeah. And I feel like, based on the experience of the past couple decades, it's pretty safe to predict that many of these politicians are just going to stay silent, worrying that if they come out and support fundamental human rights, it might hurt them politically.
Exactly.
As Republicans victimize the community. And then someday, when the politicians catch up to society, they're all going to pretend that they were advocates, that they were on the right side of the issue as they run for president or governor or whatever. Unfortunately.
Yes.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of issues here, but we very much appreciate you taking time out to join us. This is not going to be the last of these efforts by the Republicans, so hopefully we'll be able to talk again as these bills and the legal challenges against them continue. But for now, Sheryl Ring, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.